That's right, kids. We're having an extremely unconventional episode of I Ain't Finna Read That today because I'm on my effing lunch break and I don't feel like going anywhere. You know what I mean? I don't know where to go. That's what I mean to say. I don't know where to go. So I'm doing this here. Anyway, this is Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. That book, right? You're supposed to read it in high school and didn't. It's a Bill Dunschman, but the main character learns nothing the entire time. It actually was kind of a slap in the mouth because I had lived like every event in this book at least once, mostly twice. I'm not even kidding. It's really like, it was unnerving to see myself so like, I don't know, bare. It's about this kid named Holden, and he's like a prep school like idiot. He's flunking out of prep school like the fourth time now, and then this book is about him having, I think, a whole weekend of just spending every single dime he has doing nothing in particular. I was waiting to find out why J.D. Salinger is being canceled, right? Because this book is on a bunch of different banned books list, but apparently it's for like cussing and being unchristian, you know, which is like, hey, man. The other thing that I was looking for clues to is the fact that this book has been found on the person of several people as they were committing high-profile murders. They had a copy of Catcher in the Rye on their person, which I'm of the opinion that is simply because it's a good read. I think this has something to do with Holden Caulfield's personality, or I don't think personality is the right word, persona, because through the entire book he speaks to you, in first person about every person in his life, and he always has an opinion about everybody in his life, but he's never, right or wise in his opinion. It's just an opinion he has, and oftentimes his opinions will be counterbalanced in the story with him doing the exact same actions that he says he hates about the other person. So if you're not a thorough reader, you might fall for the trick of thinking that Holden Caulfield is some intellectual, when really he has very little or no self-awareness at all. And that is what I think is happening to people who, believe that Holden Caulfield is, giving them messages. I mean, if you're disturbed to the point, or schizotypical to the point where you believe that Holden Caulfield is giving you murder instructions through the book, then that's not the book's issue. It could have been anything at that point. Okay, also this is like a PUA book, I suppose. I'm not sure if that's an actual phrase, but Holden himself portrays a lot of PUA red flags, I suppose, and like his hatred of women, even though he's absolutely, infatuated by them. The main issue that he has is that he can't understand his emotions. It's almost like he doesn't. It's like he has them, but he's so at the effect that he doesn't realize that his emotions are driving him to act in irrational ways, which is, common. That's why the phrase crime of passion exists. Okay, so I'm going to dash through some points in this book. Stop me when you get tired of it. See, Holden is going to leave school because he flunked out again, and he talks to his old teacher. And this is a great thing. Holden has a bunch of people in his life that actually care about him. His teacher actually cares about him and says, hey kid, you're spinning in circles, you gotta do something. And Holden gives him the old, oh, well, okay, sir, I get it. I know this, that, and the third. He's just like giving him lip service. Through the entire book, that's what he's doing. He's giving you, the reader, lip service about his entire life and everyone else in it. Actually, before that even happens, before the book starts, he goes on this final trip with the fencing team where he's like the team manager, and he fails to navigate them properly from wherever they are in like Connecticut all the way up to New York. And while he's switching trains, like, he loses the fencing foils. So the whole team loses automatically because of his screw up. And he fails to take responsibility for it. He goes to his room and meets his his neighbor in his room before he packs up and ships out. And he hates his neighbor because his neighbor's annoying and nasty or whatever. But then his roommate comes in, and his roommate is about to make time with some girl that he used to go out with. And this is the part in the story where Holden tries to remember. He's trying to tell you about his time with this girl without actually being honest with himself. And this is the part where, if you're not a thorough reader, you can kind of like lose the plot a bit, because Holden knows, because this guy that is the girl's about to go out with is like a ladies' man, and Holden can't really deal with the fact that he's about to what do they say, give her the time, while he was never comfortable enough to really even hold her hand. Like he was thinking about like a time they went to like a movie theater. He never really like opened up and got intimate with this girl on any level. Really, they were just like real close friends, and you can tell there was some sexual tension there, but it didn't have the balls. When he comes back, as Holden tries to ask him how the date went, he starts unintentionally antagonizing him to the point where he forces his roommate to punch him in the face. And through this interaction, he doesn't actually tell you, and then he punched me in the face. It just kind of ends up in the story like, and then I'm on the floor next thing I know, and my nose is bloody, and his roommate is worried because he hurt him. But Holden doesn't explain this even to himself. All this stuff, he refuses to meet reality as it happens. That's through the entire book. Then he goes to the train station because he's like, oh, screw it, I don't want to stay here. He's like, oh, I've got about 1,000 or so 1950s dollars that I can spend on this weekend, because once I go home and my parents figured out I flunked the fourth time, I'm going to be in super trouble. So through the weekend, he starts blowing his money. He goes to a hotel room, and the elevator operator is also a pimp, and he's like, yo, I got a girl for you, and he gets a whore up to his hotel room, but then he starts like getting cold feet when the girl is there, and she tries to get him to go for it, and he like freezes up because he is a virgin. Yeah, I think it's about this time he discloses to the reader that he's actually a virgin. He has an issue with the money because the guy told him it was $5, but she tells him it's $10, and then the pimp goes up to him and beats the crap out of him for the extra couple bucks. But of course, again, he doesn't tell you exactly what happened. Like, as I read that part, I was like, did he get shot or something? Like, I spent the entire rest of the book wondering, like, does he have a gaping bullet wound in his stomach right now? I can't tell. He doesn't tell it like it is, you know? He goes on a date with some chick that he met back in the day, and then he friggin' talks himself out of her pants. He's just like wasting his time going around in circles, just hemorrhaging money. And until eventually, like, he runs all out of money. He's like, oh, well, I'd better go home, but I don't want my parents to figure out, so I'll just sneak in and talk to my sister who he loves. All right, he has a sister who's young and way smart, and he has his younger brother or something, or older brother, whatever, who died of leukemia. His younger brother died of leukemia or whatever, and his older brother's out in LA writing screenplays and doing very well for himself, even though Holden doesn't respect him for some reason. I guess because he grew up or something, I don't know. His little sister's there, and you can tell she's a genius, or at least way smarter than him, because he sneaks into her room at the time no one's in the house. They all went out to see some show or whatever, and so he sneaks into her room, and she's like, oh wow, Holden, you came. What are you doing here? Oh, you got kicked out again. Mom's gonna kill you. So they hang out for a minute, smoke some cigarettes and chill. He ends up sneaking back out when the parents come home. She goes to freaking his cool teacher's crib, and his cool teacher tells him the same thing that his old teacher told him, is, hey man, you're kind of wasting your life. You're not going to understand this now, but let me write this down for you so in the morning you can read it and figure out, like, hey, maybe this guy has a point. Maybe I'm wasting my life. When Holden goes to sleep, he wakes up in the middle of the night with the cool teacher patting him on the head and watching him lovingly as he sleeps. And he freaks out like, whoa, dude, are you a or something? And decides to like get up and leave. because again, he has these feelings that he doesn't know how to deal with. And this is when I have to speak specifically to my good friends on 4chan, you freaking spurgs. Holden did not rape his little sister. There's a scene in here where, as he's talking about how much he loves his sister and how affectionate she is, how she's almost too affectionate, I swear that does not mean that he raped her. As they were being affectionate, perhaps he had some kind of emotions that either was spurred on by that physical sensation or that he thought should be there in the event that there is physical contact with a woman. These things get blurred in his head, and he doesn't have the mental capacity to make sense of what is actually happening. Anyone who thinks that Holden raped his little sister, I don't know what to tell you other than that, okay? You're on your own for anything else that you have to say. He, on a whim, right, he decides he's gonna go up north and go to the girl who he blew the date with and say, let's go move to some other place in the woods and just live in the woods for the rest of our lives and get married, you know, zero real world plan. But that's his thing. So he writes a letter to give to his little sister at the school. It says, meet me at the freaking, at the museum to say goodbye. And so when he goes and sees her at the museum, she brought her suitcase, like, take me with you, I want to come with you too. And that's when it hits him. He's like, are you an idiot? Hell no, you can't come with me. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Of course, he doesn't say he doesn't know what the hell he's doing, but that's the gist of it. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And the epilogue is, I guess, him talking about missing everybody because he's in some kind of, you know, institutionalized place, insane asylum, you know, homeless shelter, whatever it is. He's not seeing anyone that he used to know. And so this whole book has been him detailing everyone that he used to know to you, somebody. The end, that's a 5-star read for me, bro. As far as it being banned in schools, I would say, because as I read a few Goodreads reviews, there were more than a few reviews that started off with, when I was in high school, I thought Holden Caulfield was a genius. For that reason alone, I would say that this book is not suitable for high schoolers. Because if you think that, because that's just completely missing the point of the book. Of course, I would recommend Less Than Zero as a suitable alternative, but, you know, that brings up, of course, the actual reasons why Catcher in the Rye is banned in high schools. If you don't like Catcher in the Rye, you're gonna hate Less Than Zero. But anyway, that's my review. I hope you like it. Bye.
You know what the most dangerous thing in America is, right?